who goes through violent extremes, because they're easier to imitate than someone who has a sound mind and doesn't show extremes in his behavior or his conduct, and therefore looks quite cool to everyone. Worst person to imitate. Therefore, the only people who can be imitated are who themselves move back and forth in a real swift movement back and forth through all the forms that they take on. Uh-oh. Real swiftness? That's the way he describes these figures. He's going to pick up that language we talked about before, real swiftness and real slowness. And then he changes it and he says, but the real motion to watch, the real movement to watch that has real speed is the person who can move from all of these to this. That's real speed. The psychic development, the spiritual development of man. And that's what we really should study. So that's the way he plays. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Does geometry then study the virtues?
I don't think so. What leads you to that?
Well, he says it's the study of, it's the knowledge of real beings.
Yes.
And it seems to be building on the way you laid it out, that the true number and the plane figures are representations of different kinds of lives and their relations.
True.
And the pursuit
True.
of it. And it's all based on geometry. And for Plato, the true beings are the different virtues. But if not, then I guess I'm wondering what is. You gave a clear example of how to do arithmetic. What would be a clear example of how to do geometry?
Apprehension of the idea of the good.
Yeah, but I thought the whole point of geometry is to get you to apprehend the idea of the good.
Through contemplation of the one and the idea of the good.
So it's the contemplation of the idea of the good?
So, I think the idea you're bringing in is a good one, which is usually in other dialogues he stresses the need for excellence, moral excellence. Right? But as we look at this, you see, this already assumes these are called the arts of the philosopher king. There's already a vast selection that's been taking place. And there are many other studies that precede this, especially music and gymnastics. But there's a screening, and only those people who survive this kind of screening are allowed to enter into this study. And the condition for that is they have to show excellence.
Yeah.
The condition for this.
So they're studying themselves, really?
Oh, sure.
So the geometry then is studying that quality that you've achieved in yourself?
No.
Okay, so
No, that's the condition for the game. Right? It's a condition for the game. Because one already has to be able to talk about temperance, justice, courage, wisdom. They already have to have some capability of exhibiting those virtues before they can be admitted into this last training, which is the spiritual training.
well, here's my puzzle here. It sounds to me that like calling this geometry is somewhat circular, because the whole point of the arts is he's giving the presentation of the arts to say this is the way to get the philosopher to the apprehension of the idea of the good. Mm-hmm. And then you're saying geometry is the study, is the contemplation of the idea of the good.
Right.
Is he just giving, well, how do you do it though? I thought geometry is supposed to get you there, but then you say geometry is being there.
No. Arithmetic gave you the object of contemplation.
Yes. So geometry.
Geometry is doing what? It's telling you to pursue it, for this is its goal. See, the real question, all right, that I want you to take a look at is whether there is anything new in this study that isn't already in what was formerly called arithmetic. Is this a new study, or is it a continuation of contemplation?
But then if it's not a new study, then why is he even bringing it up in the first place?
No. Look, watch. This converts the soul to the knowledge of being. Right? What does it do? It converts the soul to the knowledge of being. Right? It compels it to contemplate being. Now it's going to the idea of the good, to be able to perceive the blessed part of reality, to contemplate new thing, essence, to be able to see that there's a part of reality which is continuously contemplating itself on every level.
So why does he?
That's new.
Okay,
It's an activity.
No, is that new?
I see that.
Good.
I don't have no understanding whatsoever of why he's putting it in this language. I mean, wouldn't it have just been, he could have done this in one page and say, step one, right? Consider, what is the one in itself? Like you said here. Step two, now that you're turning your soul to the nature of real being, contemplate the fact that it turns upon itself and the happiest part of it.
Well, that's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. To contemplate essence.
Arithmetic and these whole sciences and studies.
Because it's an analogy.
I don't know what,
You don't like analogies? Come on.
I don't even see what's analogous about it.
Do you see anything analogous between the state and the soul?
Yes.
Oh, good. Would you agree that people who study these things formally in a state, therefore are prepared for more knowledgeable positions in the state? If they went through each of these studies as they are?
No.
Oh, okay. Usually people who study arithmetic and these kinds of things are prepared for public office. Now, the question is, come on now. The question is, can we use this language to talk about the soul and its cultivation?
I don't see why it helps.
I don't see why it helps.
Why this language, arithmetic and geometry and these different things, help the study?
Okay.
Help our understanding, Because if it's an analogy, it's supposed to make it clear, isn't it?
It is clear.
I don't find.
I haven't found anything peculiar about it. No.
I think it obscures it.
Pardon me. You may find it obscure,
Yes.
but this is really simple. Would you agree he's adding something here that he didn't have before?
Yeah.
Thank you. You asked how it differs. Did I point it out?
Yes.
Good. Can we go through each one and see how it adds to it?
Oh, I like what you did here.
Wait. No, please now.
Yeah.
Does it not also relate back to the allegory of the cave in the upper world? Do you have an interest in the allegory of the cave in the upper world?
The descriptions.
Oh, you're not. See, this is a vast allegory. Remember what we said. The very practice of deciphering this and using your mind to understand it is the very process of understanding. That's what he says.
Okay.
All right? And therefore, if you go through this, you've got to puzzle your way through it, and you're exercising something called understanding. It's quite sophisticated. I agree with you. He could make it easy. Yes, he could. But then you wouldn't be exercising understanding and seeing all of these things. The only question that's worthwhile, I think, for this game is whether the cultivation of the understanding in this